physician, scientist, searching for a way to tap into the hidden strengths that all humans have. Then an accidental overdose of gamma radiation alters his body chemistry. And now when David Banner grows angry or outraged, a startling metamorphosis occurs. The creature is driven by rage and pursued by an investigative reporter.
Mr. McGee, don't make me angry. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
Alright, hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Rob here at Smirking Gun Reviews. And basically I'm going to have to say, forget everything I said about not being able to cover comics. I've been waiting to get this new camera, but every day it seems to be getting further and further away. And they keep bringing out comics that I want to talk about. And maybe I don't get to do them right now the way that I want to, but I need to start talking about comics again. I'm sick and tired of sitting on things because of my pride. Or whether or not anybody even wants to hear from me talk about comics. That doesn't matter, because I need to talk about comics. More than I have a need to do a lot of things in my life. It's been really, really frustrating. And I love it when a book like Phantom X a couple of weeks ago really brought me out of it. But today we're going to be talking about, it's not a one-shot, but it is a limited series. Today we're going to be talking about, if you clicked on it, you know what we're going to be talking about. No, we're not talking about Maestro #1. We're going to talk about, I don't know, fucking Batman #1 by Tom King, right? No, we're talking about Maestro #1 by Peter David, Dale Keown. I cannot pronounce that name, man. German Peralta, Jesus Aburtov, and Jason Keith. Now, this is a book, they just re-released Future Imperfect the other day, like a week or two ago, where it's the story of how Hulk how Hulk is Maestro in the future, this ultimate villain. These are the two-part by Peter David and George Perez, who did Infinity Gauntlet. These are some dark-ass books, okay? Let me tell you something. There's some stuff in here that's just so disturbing. There's like a, in the future, this dystopian future, we might as well talk about it, right? The Hulk became this ultimate villain. That the end of the world happened, and it wasn't because of supervillains. It was because of people. And, it's such an interesting idea that all of the fights and all the things in comic books, and in the end it came down to us destroying everything, which is what we're doing anyway. And so in this dystopia, Professor Hulk gets brought to the future. And he's shown this world that has been reborn, and the Maestro, who is him, a warped version of him, is in control of everything. One of the most disturbing images, a few of the images in here, is a character that the Maestro likes to drag around who looks suspiciously like Todd McFarlane, Eric Larson era Mary Jane. It's really creepy to me because there's a couple of frames in here where he's been having a big old orgy with regular women, and it just, the thought of like the Hulk becoming this, it's just really, really freaking crazy. And the Maestro character has been used a little bit here and there. He was like in Old Man Logan, Old Man Logan. It was a big part of his arc at the end of it. He was also used, I think, in Old Man Logan, the original, but I'm not 100% on that. We're going to put these down. But they never showed how Hulk became the Maestro. Now, this is just, to me, an alternate story, because clearly he hasn't become the Maestro. The events haven't taken place, not to say that they couldn't, but it's one of those stories that, it's like when a show takes place in, like, let's say it starts in like 93, and they'll say that, but It'll actually be the year 93, right? But a show will take place in, like, let's say 2001. And now it's 2020 and it hasn't happened. Do you know what I'm saying? So the Maestro story is one of those stories where it's like, it can be whenever it actually happens. It doesn't have to be any specific time, but I believe that when the book did it, I think they mentioned a year, but I'm not positive. Another thing that's interesting about this, and a lot of people have been going, where's Peter David? Why doesn't Marvel use Peter David? Well, they have been using Peter David. He's been writing the amazing Symbiote Spider-Man series, the original and the Alien Reality, and there's more coming. These are really fantastic. If you have not been reading Symbiote Spider-Man, I highly recommend checking out the trades. This is a story of what if the symbiote never left Peter, and how it, you know, I don't want to spoil anything. You got to read it. Peter David's killing it in that book. Well, he is doing stuff for Marvel, and now he's back doing Maestro, this mini-series explaining exactly what happened and how he became, you know, how the Hulk, Professor Hulk anyway, became Maestro. And I gotta tell you, it's great. And it has Dale's art at the beginning. And I was a little worried that German Peralta, if I'm pronouncing that right, it's pronounced German like German. Maybe it's Herman. Either way, sorry man if I'm butchering your name. But his art is really good too. I really like what they did. It is different than Dale's, but it's nice that they got him in there. I think it was important to have that distinction, that have Dale drawing the Professor Hulk stuff that he was a major part of, like all these, all this stuff here, the final division between Hulk and Green Hulk, where Hulk becomes Professor Hulk, and you get these, he did some really great art in those. So I think it's really cool that the beginning of this book is his. And there's a reason I think that you can say that the art should change for the next book, or the next part of the book, because it isn't in that era of Professor Hulk anymore. It is in that dystopian future. Not from Future Imperfect yet, but the lead up to it. And I gotta say, the writing and everything was really great. There's a couple little Easter eggs towards how they've used Hulk in the past. But, you've got him right here at the beginning, I love this, A Symphony in a Gamma Key, Part 1, where he's knocking the heads off of Sentinels. He's working with Wolverine. He's working with the Avengers. He's got his wife there. Everything is great. And he even has kids, right? And right from the get-go, you know that the first page was fine. When they get to this page, it starts to get weird right away, where his kid starts saying to his mom, "You're dead." Like, we don't have to do what you say. Why? Because you're dead. And Hulk's like, what are you talking about? Why would you, what is he talking about? Why is he saying you're dead? And she suddenly starts glitching, like bad command or file name, bad command or file name. And he's shocking, he's trying to figure out what's going on, and he goes to black. And there's Cap standing there talking to him, kind of trying to talk him down. Like, hey, we got some things, Mysterio did this. And it made me think, oh, they're doing an Old Man Logan thing, where Mysterio made Logan think that the X-Men were all supervillains, and he killed them all. Spoilers for Old Man Logan. So it's like a dream at first, you think. Maybe he's just having a nightmare. But that's not what happens, and he kind of goes through this room right here in the bottom corner here, where it looks like he's part of like a machine. Like, where am I? What is this? But he comes out again, and there's the Avengers, and everybody's standing there, and they're trying to basically talk him down. Even Widow says from, Age of Ultron, sun's getting real low, and Thor comes jumping up, and he's about to hit Hulk, right? And Even's like, but the narration of this is great. He's like, there's no sound. That's odd. Normally I'd hear something, a thud, a crunch, or some other onomatopoeia. But there's nothing, just silence, like I'm in a dream. And Thor goes, get him. And he has this moment where he everybody's coming at him, and he hits him with the sonic slap, you know? Everybody goes flying except for Vision. And Vision comes up, he's like, of course it's a Vision, you know? The guy who can't be touched comes at me. He puts his hand in his brain, right? And now I'm thinking, wait, is this a nightmare or isn't this? And he's like, get out of my head! And he zaps to the front and the art changes, and I love it. This art is really good. That's a great image that he's been hooked up to this machine, right? And he's got the beard and everything that's going to be, you know, longer and grayer later on in the series when he becomes Maestro. And he comes out and there's this woman, right here. Sorry, still trying to do that. And a kid. Like, who the hell are they? Right? And he thinks, you know, that they might be his kid, his wife, something. He picks up the kid. Kid's like, give me, you know, let me go, all this. And all of a sudden, he's surrounded by AIM soldiers. And you're like, what? AIM's got him, right? And he's just like, I'm, you know, I'm not going to have anything to do with this. Like, these people, AIM, I'm going to, you know, F you guys up. But they shoot him with some pretty powerful weapons, and even he's like, okay, if I stay here much longer, this might actually hurt. So he, you know, pounds his way through and escapes. But he doesn't get too far. He finds out, you know, that there's other people in tanks, like the Abomination and Vapor, and, you know, part of these, you know, UFOs, like other characters are down here. Who else is down here, right? And he gets hit again. He hits a barrier, and then they blast him. He's just like, you know, that's enough of that, you hear. I assume you remember me, Doctor, and it's MODOK. All old, and I mean, look at that. That is a great art right there. That is just some fucking fantastic MODOK drawing there. And he gives him the lowdown, right, that everybody's dead. He's like, what did you do? And he's like, what did you do? He jumps out, and he's like, we didn't do anything. We didn't do anything, man. And even he, you know, he's threatening to kill MODOK, and he's like, do it. You'd be doing me a favor. This is not living. The people that built me, I don't have any way to fix myself. I am broken. I am dying myself. There's no way. I'm getting worse and worse. So killing me, you'd be doing me a favor. But he tells him, look, man, the government, the leaders, all of them, the great unwashed, the they that we always talk about. I love that. You know, you idiot, the great they. Whenever you complain about the awful things they are doing to the world because of their stupid decisions, your leaders, your governments, the great unwashed, they. World War III. Some terrorist groups set off nuclear weapons in both the United States and Moscow and convinced both nations through their computers that the other was responsible. From there, it was only a matter of time. By the time it was sorted out, 60% of humanity was gone. And then some years later came the next, smaller offensive. They called themselves, the Black Side. Now here's the picture, very Terminator 2 here. Everything just going up. And of course, we did it. Like, we did it to ourselves, right? The heroes didn't even have a chance. And there's this other group called the Black Side that basically say, humanity's over. And they start doing terrorist moves to just gas and kill everyone. And eventually, I guess that means they would be killing themselves at some point. But it was very efficient, and basically everywhere you went, if you were a person and you were alive, they'd find you and kill you. And they came up with an idea that MODOK basically was trying to save power people, to get people that would benefit from radiation, gamma radiation, cosmic rays, and the like. Not the classic heroes, because he doubted they would be interested in aligning with our desires. And he's like, what do you mean desires? It's like survival. All right, Dr. Banner, nothing more. These people, these AIM soldiers, they have families and they all want to live. So he basically didn't save any of the heroes because he didn't think that they'd be trying too hard to save the humanity, and it's messed up. It kind of, I don't know. I don't think that he's 100% wrong. You know what I mean? The certain ideas that they can come up with for villains, they're not always completely bad ideas. They're just distasteful sometimes. Like, again, like the Thanos thing. Like, Thanos is crazy, but the idea that in some ways you could say wiping out, if it really would, if you wiped out half the population on Earth, it would help the Earth. It's just a distasteful that, we don't want to do something like that. That's, that would be insane. Murdering all these people. We could just, stop doing all the things that we do. Anyway, that's a different topic. But basically Hulk just goes, I'm out of here. Right? Thank you very much. Thanks for saving me. He smacks MODOK and says, I'm out of here. And he jumps out to see for himself what he is afraid of. And it's true. It's all true. Everything is gone. You maniacs! You maniacs, you did it, right? And so he's like, he wasn't lying. They really did it. They blew themselves to hell. All the adventures we heroes had, everything we did to protect them from the bad guys, but we couldn't protect them from themselves. And the real crushing thing is, even if a terrorist group hadn't started it, sooner or later the government would have done it themselves. Because humankind is so damn self-destructive that all we could do is stem the tide. But you can't stop the tide entirely or reverse it. Eventually, you get swept away by it. Some of the best writing in any book I've read right here in this just 2-page thing. Now, a lot of people are just going to be like, maybe they're, Peter David needs to get off his soapbox or whatever, but it's fucking true. Okay? So Hulk goes up to the Hollywood sign of all places because it's basically one of the only things standing. He's like, why'd you come up here? He's like, it's the only thing left. What else is out there? And he's like, more of the same. Come back with me, maybe in 27 years the radiation will decrease and we can start rebuilding. He's like, well, yeah, we're going to rebuild. So what? Humanity can regenerate, thrive, and blow itself up again? Well, one would hope the same end wouldn't result. He's like, no thanks. I don't need them. He's like, you come with us, you can have friends. He's like, I don't need friends. Friends die. And stop calling me Dr. Banner. That's not me anymore. So you're the whole full time now, are you? And he says, for now. And he jumps up, boom, out of there, and changes the sign to Hulk. And it says to be continued. Now, will there be how many issues? I don't know. But this is the issue number 2, which that doesn't look like a final issue cover to me. So I'm thinking maybe 3 issues would be probably efficient. I haven't checked. I'm sure there's somewhere that says how many there are. It doesn't matter. So far, it's really good. I'm so glad that Peter David's back doing Hulk. He did that one shot not too long ago, but it was okay. It was all right, but this is way, way better. And it's nice to see them kind of completing the circle that is the Maestro story. And whatever reason they have to do it, I'm glad they're doing it. It's a fantastic book. Highly recommend you check it out. Otherwise, pick up the trade when it comes out. Or look at all these other Hulk books that you can get. They're not expensive at your local comic book shop. So, anyway, if you like this review, please hit the like button, comment, share, subscribe, hit the bell for all notifications. Otherwise, we'll be back with more comics soon.